Hey guys, it's Ilbus here, the Baron's Finest, getting you all another deck profile, actually. Something a little bit more casual, but I figured, hey, this would be a really fun deck profile to get you guys, and that is actually Claw of Hermos Clownblade. Now, I have to say, I absolutely love Clownblade. It's probably one of my new favorite decks in this entire game. I love the fact that it's not an archetype deck. I love the fact that it just makes plays out of nowhere, for no reason, at minimal cost. It's a fun deck. It's absolutely enjoyable. Now, I will bring in the argument that yes, I don't believe this deck is as good here in the States as it is in Japan, because obviously we don't have Chain. I consider Shockmaster and Infinity irrelevant. I mean, I feel like if you need cards like at least like those two in order for your deck to be good, then there can arguably be decks better. But I enjoy this deck all the same. It's a fun deck. I wanted to play Hermos just because I figured it'd be a fun tech until we had Norden. Plus, I don't own Jar of Avarice. So I was like, you know what, let's make a fun version of this deck. And that's the build I have here. I am still working on my actual list, and I'll probably be profiling that once Norden actually comes out. But for now, I'm going to be playing the Hermos build. And I figured, hey, a month or two with Hermos will be alright. That'll be a fun way to play the deck. Plus, selling TCG legal, because I don't want to keep proxying Norden. So, without further ado, we're going to get started on this deck list, and I'm going to do a lot of explaining here, because this deck has never been in the States before. So, you guys will have to tolerate with me on that. So, to start off with, on our monsters, our heart of the deck revolves around these 4 cards. 3 copies of Perform Mage Trick Clown, and then 1 copy of Heroic Challenger Thousand Blades. And I can actually get that. Alright, I don't know why the lighting's not working, but alright, whatever. So the 3 Trick Clown and the 1000 Blades, what these cards inherently do with each other is that Trick Clown is that when it hits grave, you target a Perform Mage in your graveyard, special summon it, and then you take 1000 points of damage, and that goes along with our 1000 Blades, where 1000 Blades reads, if you take damage, any kind of damage while it's in graveyard, you get to special summon it, and each of their effects can only be used once per turn. Thousand Blades does have a effect where it can special Heroic Challengers at a deck, but that's irrelevant for the most part because we don't play any Heroic Challenger extra deck cards. But the point being is that these two are your interaction. They're the heart of the deck. It's how you get most of your rank 4s out by looping these two as materials and then just constantly detaching the pieces that will allow you to continue the combo. And in theory, you can bust out multiple rank 4s a turn. But it's a really fun deck. I enjoy it, and this is where the deck gets the name Clownblade from. So that's where the heart of the deck is, and then everything else is mainly supporting cast. So I guess to continue on with our Clownblade part of it, we'll go over the heroics. We play 3 copies of Heroic Challenger Halberd Assault. Halberd Assault is a Cyber Dragon with piercing, and when it does piercing, you search a Heroic Challenger, which is why we're playing 1000 Blades, and this gives us our heroic engine. I am debating about actually playing double 1000 Blades, just because without Chain, we need to be able to see our combo pieces, and I feel like playing 2000 Blades isn't the worst thing you can do in the world, so I might be playing 2 of those. The numbers on the Clownblade engine always vary. Some people say you play 2 Trick Clowns, some people say you have to play 3, some people say I only like 1. 1000 Blades is also the same way. You never play more than 2, but you can play 1. I was testing 1, but I do admit I kind of want to see this a little bit more now that we don't have Chain. So getting the combo off is more essential, and I will probably be bumping 1000 Blades up to 2. Plus, if you're in a meta where things can get banished from your grave, and I know a certain Vernoid player I apparently play against every time I play in my locals, it may not be a bad idea to play 2 of those. For the rest of the Perform Mage stuff, we play 3 copies of Perform Mage Damage Juggler. If you would take battle or effect damage, you can discard it to negate the damage. That's actually really cool. And then you can banish it from graveyard to add a Perform Mage monster from your deck to your hand. So you can search Trick Clown, or you can search our other... Oh yeah, you can't search another copy of Damage Juggler, but you have another target in the form of Perform Mage Hat Tricker. Hat Tricker is that if there are 2 or more monsters on the board, you can special it from grave. And it has some irrelevant effects, but I'll go ahead and read the rest of it to you as soon as I actually find the sentence. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that would inflict damage to you, you can place 1 Perform Mage counter on this card, max 3, Then make the effect damage you take, make that effect damage to you 0. When the third performance counter is placed on this card, its attack and defense become 3300. So it can randomly be a beater, but you usually will never get that off. It's mainly there just to be like, oh, I can make a play, special and defense, and then overlay. So that's the only reason you're really playing Hat Tricker. You're not playing it for that effect. And then Damage Juggler is obviously a searcher. So now that we've gone over all the Perform Mage and heroic stuff, which is where the deck gets the name Clown Blade, we're going to go over the supporting cast, and I will say this is more so a pure variant. I'm not doing the hero variant. I'm not doing Volcanics. I'm not really playing any sub-variants. I probably will be playing the Pendulum Edition variant when that's released on the road, or at least the Pendulum version. But for the rest of our supporting cast, we have 2 copies of Jurighetto. This actually gives us more hand traps in the deck, and plus Jurighetto is an amazing card in this deck. What Jurighetto does is that if you have, or in battle step, when a monster, or during either player's battle step, you can special from your hand, and if you do, you get 1,000. You can also sack it to have a monster you control gain attack until the end of the next turn. So it's actually really cool how, excuse me, lost my breath there. How Jurighetto actually allows you to continue combos. It can help you re-establish your loops, because Trick Clown will obviously be killing you, but this heals your life. And recycling this is actually really cool. I like Jurighetto a lot. It's probably one of my favorite cards in the deck. Another card I actually wound up recently learning about in this deck is Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. You can bounce so many things and then just extend your combo plays. Plus the fact that Zephyros reads that it deals you damage. This is actually just a fun combo in of itself. This is another automatic rank 4. If only we had Chain still, but again, I feel like Chain should have been banned. If not this format, the next one, after where this deck goes. Then we have 1 Nefarious Archfiend Eater of Nefariousness, and then 1 Gigabyte. I was originally testing double Gigabyte, and I do really like it. I might go back to it. But what these cards do is that they both have the effect where if you control a spellcaster type monster, you can special summon them from your hand, aka any Perform Mage. And Gigabyte reads that if it's destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to grave, you could just special another monster with, I believe, 1,500 attack and 200 defense from your grave, except another copy of itself, so you'll always be special summoning Nefarious if it's not already in grave. And Nefarious reads during the end phase of the turn. During the end phase of your opponent's turn, you can destroy a monster you control and then special it from grave. So it allows you to reset certain conditions where you might have like a Trick Clown as a material because you didn't want to detach it after making like a first or second rank 4. And it allows you to just re-establish loops. So it's a really good card. I like Nefarious. And then my last level 4 is 1 Goblinberg. It's not a bad card. It's a rota target. It sometimes gets pieces out of your hand. You might randomly need to summon a Damage Juggler so you can detach and search. You might have a Trick Clown that you don't want, or maybe you drew your 1,000 Blades too early, and then you want to just make sure it's engraved, or you drew like Zephyros and Nefarious or something like that. So it's a good card. I like the Goblinberg. And now the next card is something I've been testing, more so as like a Therio type thing, where I am actually playing 3 copies of Mathematician. Now, the reason behind my pulling of Triple Mathematician is because Chain is gone. We don't have as much of a... We lose a little bit of our early game in the fact that like we can't go automatic Chain for our first rank 4 and then just start pumping all our dudes in the grave. We have to do that a little bit more manually now. Our normal summon isn't as important, so we can in theory just like send whatever we want. We can send Zephyros, Nefarious, 1,000 Blades, Trick Clown, whatever we want. And I will give the argument, yes, this is not a level 4, which is honestly a really bad thing about this card. I wish it were 4, but at the same time I'm glad it's balanced in 3. But you have to take what you can get. If anybody can suggest maybe something better than this for a good card that can do what I'm trying to accomplish, or if I'm just approaching this wrong, then I'd love to hear it. But like I said, I am actually like... I feel like this just helps establish things, and we need the deck to be as consistent. Which is also why I'm debating about bumping 1,000 Blades up to 2. 1 Ghost Ogre. I was playing 2 for a while, but I felt it was better just to cut it to 1. Only because it's just like... It gave me another hand trap, which is partially why I wanted to play it. And, you know, outs are outs. And the last reason I keep emphasizing hand traps is because I actually mainboard double Max C. I don't like maining Max C unless I have hand traps to draw into with it. which I do in the form of Juraghetto, Dama Juggler, and Ghost Ogre. So I do have hand traps I can draw into with Maxi, and that's why I felt like Maxi was worth the main. And that does it for the monsters, actually. I'm still working on this list, but again, this is like the more casual version of the deck because we don't have Norden, nor do I own Jar of Avarice, which I really feel is like a staple in this deck, at least here. For the spells, we play 1 copy of Raigeki, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Foolish Burial, and the 1 Soul Charge, because these are our Form 1 of staples. For our 2 O's, we play 2 MST and 2 Rhoda, and then the fun card of the deck, the infamous, the one and only, the 2 copies of the Claw of Hermos. Now, Hermos actually has a few cool interactions in this deck. It lets you send off dudes to grave that you might have seen too early, and if you have a good enough established monster on board, you pumping out and equip like one of the Hermos fusions is actually really cool. We're not playing every Hermos fusion, I'll tell you right now. We don't play the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword, but we play every other one. Plus, the Hermos fusions are all type generic, and we actually already play all the types of monsters that like the other fusions require. We play warriors and spellcasters, so busting out Hermos fusions is actually really fun. I like it as a fun card. I don't feel like it makes the deck super competitive with playing the Claw of Hermos, but it's really enjoyable, and nothing's more hilarious than busting out Gaga Samurai with Time Magic Hammer, where it banishes everything it battles. So, Claw of Hermos, it's a fun tech. Don't play it seriously, but it's a card I've been enjoying all the same. For the traps, we play 1 Call the Haunted. I like Call, admittedly. It's another way to reestablish or sometimes get a play going, and it does give you like backup fodder. 1 breakthrough skill. I like the 1 breakthrough and oops, I just hit my phone. I like the 1 breakthrough in the double fiendish, just because there are matchups like say Shadal where if the opponent has what's that card's name? Winda. There we go. If the opponent has like a Winda on board, then having the breakthrough skill available to you in grave if you don't have fiendish is really good, or if the fiendish gets MST'd or anything. So it gives you options in the deck, which is what the deck is all about. It wants variety, it wants options. It's why we're also not pulling a lot of the same names if we can help it, because we don't want our opponent to know exactly how our deck works. We want variety and how we can approach things, which is also which I feel like if your deck has variety to approach a problem and it works consistently, then that's even better. And then last but not least, we play double Mirror Force. The deck does have certain issues with types of cards, and this helps out with that. So that does it for the trap lineup. I thought about playing Torrential and Compulse, but Torrential is in my theoretical sideboard right now, and Compulse is just not a card I like in this current format. So onto our extra. I will say the extra is not optimal. This is a draft 1 of the extra for at least the Hermos build. I have a build more so for the pure version, like the pure non-Hermos version I like a bit more, but I wanted to test ideas in this version and at least get some mentality straight and see like how much I need certain cards and how much I don't need certain cards. So for our Hermos fusions, we play 1 Time Magic Hammer, 1 Rocket Hermos Cannon, and 1 Goddess Bow. Now, each of these have really cool effects that I like. Time Magic Hammer. Alright, yeah, I'm sorry. Time Magic Hammer, I felt like had something else too, because remember, like, each fusion of it has 2 effects. But Time Magic Hammer is. Alright, so every Hermos fusion has the effect where it mandatorily equips to a monster on its summon. It's not like a Union monster where you equip it whenever. You have to have something pretty much already on board for it to equip. But each of the fusions have really cool effects. Time Magic Hammer is whenever you battle an opponent's monster with it, you roll a dice, and then that monster gets banished until the end. Gets banished until the standby phase of the nth turn after its activation. So, like, say you roll a 6 standby phases after after that effect is activated, that monster comes back. Rocket Hermos Cannon. It's pretty basic. It gives it makes everything a double attacker and gives it piercing. And then Goddess Bow is that it negates the first effect activated during each battle phase by your opponent, and then if you negate something, that monster gets a second attack. So, like, they're really cool cards. I do like them. And also for people who are wondering like what matches with which, this needs spellcasters and these need warriors. So the instant like you have something like established and you randomly have like a lingering, say like you have a lingering mathematician or a lingering like warrior, you can call up Hermos it, send the type, get your equip fusion, and then just go off from there. It's really fun. I like the three Hermos fusions. I'm again not playing Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. I feel one, it's the least practical, and two, I don't play any dragons. I'm probably going to be playing Dark Rebellion back in this extra deck though, just because of how much I realize that card is needed in this list. Oh my god, this deck needs Dark Rebellion. But for our rank 4s, because this is where the heart of the deck shines, you play one Taller Knight Ptolemaeus. I used to be playing two for the longest time, but I found that there are times where I want a second, and I might actually bump this up to 2 again. But Ptolemaeus, one die goes to Emerald. This is your only way to recycle in this version because Jar of Avarice doesn't exist, at least for me. So you really need to be playing with the Emerald. Recycle rank 4s. That's the best I'm going to tell you. Recycle your rank 4s. You will burn through these things. I wanted to test Maestroke the Symphony Edition again. It's not a bad card. I actually kind of like it in a few mentalities where it's a moderate-sized body. Not to mention, it's got a moderate-sized body. The defense is pretty good. Not to mention, it also freely detaches at will, and only detaches 1, which is really good. So, I do like Maestroke in that sense. It's been testing well for me. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep playing in the pure version or not, or how I'm going to keep approaching this extra, but yeah. One Executon Knight, the best rank 4 in the deck. The best rank 4 in the game, I'd even say. One Gaga Samurai, probably my favorite card in this entire extra deck. It lets you lay down so much aggression. Not to mention, it's a rank 4 that if you can establish it early and just like get multiple pokes in, it does huge damage. And it's like, again, a rank 4 that only detaches 1, and it serves as utility the entire game. Plus, if you can establish these two, this is absolutely hilarious because Samurai just banishes everything it battles with, so you have it double swing twice, or you have it double swing, banish whatever, and then you're just good to go. One Diamond Direwolf. It's another rank 4 that detaches 1, and it's an automatic problem solver to literally about every card in the game. Plus, and you randomly have Zephyros, Nefarious. Yeah, you have Zephyros and Nefarious that are targets for it, so you do have Beast, Wing Beast, and Beast Warriors that work with this effect, but you rarely summon them. One Castel. I will probably be bumping this up to 2 just because of how much I need this card. Castel is a great card in this extra deck. I love Castel. 1/101. It's another good card. And then one Deltaros. Deltaros both gives you a rank. It gives you a target for Ptolemaeus to attach to during end phase, and it's a card you're actually inclined to make because you can make the rank 4s that need 3. I'm not playing the Star Seraphs though, just because I don't like them. And then for our 5s for Ptolemaeus, we play one Pleiades, one Tiras, and then one Diamond. We're mainly playing Tiras as a respondable card for Dark Hole or Raigeki or things like that, because if your stuff gets triggered when you don't want it to happen, Tiras just gives you an automatic out to it. And Tiras also has built-in protection. Plus, Tiras has built-in removal, which is also really cool. But yeah, guys, I think that's actually going to do it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, if you would change anything. Like I said, I'll be profiling a pure, real Clown Blade variant eventually. I just don't want to right now, nor can I really, because I don't own certain cards. But I figured this would be fun, at least to get you guys, so I at least can show you that I am working on Clown Blade. And again, this is one of my favorite decks in the game, and she's getting this glare. Try that glare on the Rocket Hermos cannon, guys. But yeah, I feel like that's going to do it for this deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, peace.